Okay, there's a lot of people that are listening to this episode, and they're probably going to just blow past this, not even realize the importance of what you just said. Basically, what you've just told me is that you're developing a plan, the 12-month plan, that is giving your franchisees the roadmap and hope, more than hope, but you're giving them a roadmap to how they're going to achieve the success, as opposed to
Right.
just giving somebody a marketing plan and training and saying going out there. And the reason why I want to share that I caught that is I had a dear friend who was the president of my company, and one of the best things we did in our company was we developed what was called the cash flow planner. And it showed our franchisees exactly what you just said. It showed them exactly how to achieve the results. There was no more question. I hope I get this many people. They knew exactly how much marketing they need to do. They knew how many members they needed, how many customers they were going to get a result. And that's probably something that most franchisors don't do. And they certainly don't do it as an emerging brand.
Well, I feel like that's one of the paths to success. So we have a saying here is math is the path and a budget is the path. If you're not budgeting every cent, how will you know if you're successful or not? If you're not looking at your numbers and you're not looking at your KPIs, how will you know if you're on the right track? We're not here just to build growth. We're here to build explosive and fast growth. Everyone in this world is going to make $1 million at some point or another, right? Even the fry cook at McDonald's, they're going to make $1 million. It's just how fast that they can do it. So if I can tell you, if I can build you a roadmap and I say, here are all of the things, here are all of your income, here's all of your expenses, here's what you need to pay on advertising, and we give you help, all you have to do is execute it. And it's harder than it seems, but you have a path when you're going home from emerging training.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the number one tool that I would recommend an emerging franchisor do if they have not done so already is developing that path of exactly how to achieve X, whatever that number might be for their brand.
Well, that's encouraging to know we're on the right track.
I think
Thanks for
that
that.
no, I think that's great stuff. Well, Whitney, you guys haven't franchised very long, but what's been your biggest surprise so far since being in the industry?
I think the biggest surprise, so much to start. I think that you're constantly learning. There's something that's new constantly. You go to an industry event, you find out some vendor exists that makes your life a whole lot easier. This year I found an insurance vendor that tracks all my insurance and makes sure all my everything is up to date and compliant, which is amazing. Takes time and effort off my team. I mean, changes everywhere. Look at how much AI has changed in the past 3 years.
Right.
It's the amount of change that happens, not only from year to year, but from month to month.
Mm, so true. Let's shift gears here and talk a little bit about the vision and the future of the company. First off, how do you evaluate and select potential territories or potential new markets for expansion?
And we did something really cool last year. So we actually had a company come in and they mapped out all of our potential territories. And so we actually have the growth goal of where we could be. And now we're just working backwards from that. So I think it's about 400-ish territories that we could eventually be at.
Mm-hmm.
But now we can actually pinpoint and target where we're going to use resources such as marketing into that state or that region. And so I think that was a really cool thing that we had done. And I recommend any emerging brand do it because for the first 2 years, I was figuring it out. I made some mistakes.
Sure.
We learned from them, we grew from them, but having an expert come in as soon as you can afford that really helped us narrow down what a territory should look like, what our model was producing reliably, 98% of the time, how many trucks could run in a territory, all of that really juicy data. That was really important. So we went ahead and invested in that last year.
That's a great investment. One of the biggest mistakes I think we make as new franchisors is we give away too much territory.
Been there, done that.
We all do it. I can tell you the reason why I did it was because I wanted to give the franchisees as much wiggle room to succeed as possible, but
Yeah.
it's not really helping them by giving away too much territory. It actually hurts people. I really feel like if you give away too much territory that they can't get to it, you're opening yourself up to competition from the outside and that they can't protect their own backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's talk about the vision now of the company. What's the long-term vision for a company that started as a result of a challenge?
Well, the long-term vision is we're excited to grow. We're excited to make our franchisees profitable. There's a lot of work to be done. This year, 2023, was the year that we made some significant hires. So we actually hired in a COO. She's a legacy in franchising. Her name is Diane Davis. She's really been helping us transition from a company that was learning to franchise to a franchise system. And there is a significant difference in the two, even though they don't sound incredibly different. The way that a franchise system runs is very organized and a lot more detail-oriented items. So we're putting in the key personnel to really stabilize and grow even more. We've got a goal of 50 franchisees just for this year. So we've got 36 right now. So we're well on track for the December goal of 50. But we are goal driven. We have all of our budgets done. We know that we can have accountable, exciting growth. So that's the goal.
And to sell 50 franchises, I'm curious, do you guys use outside broker groups or outside franchise sales organization to help?
We don't. We do it all in-house.
Do it all in-house. All right. And well, of course, the obvious question is, I know people are listening to this. Okay, how are they selling 50 franchises? What's been some of the key takeaways on how you've been able to find that many franchises without using brokers?
Well, we had a viral video that helped us along the way. Our video went live last November, actually a year ago, and it got over 1 million hits. And it produced about 1,000 applications into Wise. It was massive.
Nice.
For us. Every time I talk about this in franchising, people are always amazed at the outcome of this video. And that was a large majority of our applicants. Not all of them made it to being a franchisee, but we had a strong interest in understanding what it was like to be a part of Wise. And ultimately, that wave, the uncontrollable growth, not anywhere attainable for us to capitalize on that. We did our best, but it was really exciting to see how much interest there was.
What about longer term for Wise? Do you see yourself adding on other companies or being part of a platform and selling this to private equity one day? Which direction do you think you guys are leaning towards long term?
Maybe to both. I think we have our 5-year plan is kind of a little bit getting solidified. We just transitioned over to EOS, so we're starting to get our rocks and starting to perform as an organized company. And so getting that 1 year, 5-year, 10-year goal is still getting written down. But there's potential there in both. In fact, I've talked to a few private equity firms just because they were interested in knowing a little bit more about us. I've met great people that work in private equity at franchising events. Eventually, who knows? I don't know what the end goal is. Right now, what I can say is my main focus is to help my franchise locations be as profitable as they can be, as happy as they can be, and to have really a great work life.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.